right, this is Ron Henthorne down here at the Jackson Den tonight with Coach Steve Johnson. Steve, your first game tonight.
Yes, it is our first game. You want me to comment on the first game? You're letting me know it's our first game. I know it's our first game.
I know it's your first
game. Especially with losing 10 seniors, we're well aware it's our first game. But we're excited. It's kind of a fun neighborhood rivalry. We didn't get to play them last year because we didn't have a non-league game, so we had to take a year off planned, but it's always a fun game to play.
You did play a little jamboree, didn't you?
We did. We played jamboree at Sammamish. We played, we played Renton and Woodinville. So that was good. It was good to get the uniforms on, kind of run up and down a little bit, get some of the jitters out, hopefully.
So Glacier Peak's had a game under their belt now against the homies. Did you happen to see any of that?
I was in attendance. I did see it. Yeah, they got a good team. They share the ball. They got some experienced guards. They put a lot of pressure defensively. So, hey, they're a good team, and, they've got a good program, so I'm not surprised. And, right out of the gate, actually, we have two pretty tough games, Glacier Peak tonight and then at Stanwood Tuesday. So, just trying to get ready for and build and get better as the season goes along. And we start out with a tough one, so we'll see where we're at.
Well, I'm looking to see good things out of Jackson. Jackson's always had a good team, and I think they've got some players that will probably step up and take the place of some of those kids that left you last year.
Yeah, they've been behind just a really, really unusually good senior class. I mean, with 10 really, really good seniors, a lot of these guys have been waiting their turn. A lot of them would have been on varsity in a normal situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, they get the chance to step up and show what they got, and I'm kind of excited to see what they do.
Anybody going to key on GP tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously, I saw the game the other night. 2 shot the ball. I mean, I'm not that dumb. I do know that we have to get to him. I'm sure they got some other guys that can score a little better maybe than they showed in one game. They got pretty good balance, I think. I mean, they got the inside guys that can do some damage. They got the outside guys that can do some damage. So I just think we got to be solid across the board. I mean, obviously, we got to get to 2. I mean, I'm not going to let a guy do that 2 games in a row. I hope we don't anyway. They got pretty good balance overall, so we need an overall good defensive effort.
All right, well, thank you. Looking for a great game out of your team tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate your support of high school sports, too.
All right, good night. Thank you.
An early season showdown at Jackson High School. Good evening, everybody. Nathan Murphy here, welcoming you to Henry M. Jackson High School in Mill Creek, where tonight the Timberwolves will host the Grizzlies of Glacier Peak from just down the road, the cross-divisional showdown that entertains year after year. Welcome, everybody, the inaugural boys basketball broadcast of the season on STSPN.com. We're glad to have everybody with you. Ron Henthorne will be alongside in a little bit as the Glacier Peak Grizzlies find their way back onto the floor. We've got about 4 minutes left until the starting lineups tonight, and this should be an interesting contest. The two teams, perennial powers in their divisions. Glacier Peak last year missed the regional playoff for the first time since that format was introduced, but they've been picked to finish first in the division. Jackson, of course, was ranked first in the state much of the year, lost in heartbreaking fashion to Issaquah, but finished fourth. They've been picked to finish third in their division. And we'll throw it down now to Ron Henthorne.
Okay, Ron Henthorne down here with Brian Hunter. Brian, you got a good game under your belt last week, and now you're up against Jackson for their first game. How are you looking for it?
It'll be fun. It's a great way for us to start. Snohomish on Tuesday, Jackson on Friday. It's fun.
That's a tough way to start out the season, but you looked good against Snohomish last week, and Jackson I think they came out to scout you a little bit, so they may be keying on a few things. What do you got looking for them?
It'll be interesting for them. They have a lot of guys that graduated, so we'll see what they do. But it's a good, solid program. I expect them to be, really solid, play us tough. It's going to be a battle for us to see what we can do against them tonight.
Okay, so same lineup you started with last week, I'm assuming?
Yep, we're going to have the same guys in there tonight, and then the guys off the bench played really well, so we're counting on that again.
Everybody healthy and ready to go then?
Yep, we're ready right now.
All right, well, good luck, Brian. We'll see you after the game.
Appreciate it.
All right, back to you.
NBA 3 ball. He just absolutely drains that one.
Welcome back to Jackson High School. Thanks everybody for joining us here tonight. STSPN.com, your home for all of the Northwestco athletic events. Lots of boys and girls basketball on tap for you here this winter. All season long, they'll be here with you, fall, winter, and spring. And of course, our partner in the South Divisions with the Sound Live Sports Network. Those two organizations working together in fine fashion. The football season this year, that will continue for the fall and the spring sports. Lots of great live Western Conference action for you on YouTube through STSPN and Sound Live Sports. I'm Nathan Murphy. Ron Henthorn is with me. And Ron, always an entertaining contest when these two teams meet up.
It is a good contest, and both schools really always been high in their league. Jackson went all the way into the state last year and lost a lot of good players to college for graduation, but they're looking for some kids to fill it up tonight. I think if you caught a little bit of that interview with the coach, he's expecting some boys to step right in there and take over. So I'm looking for a real strong match out of Jackson here tonight.
A lot of inexperience on the floor for both sides. And in fact, that's true across the Western Conference this year. Now, Glacier Peak's in a bit of an unusual situation, Ron, coming off last year, the first time they did not make the regional round since that format was instituted. What do the Grizzlies need to do to bounce back in this season?
Well, they need to keep firing from the outside like they did against that game in Snohomish here this week. Had Zach Hatch out there was on fire that game, and everybody expects him to maybe try that again, but I think the Jackson team is going to try to shut him down. So a lot of shots from the outside is probably going to make a big difference for the Grizzlies.
Meanwhile, Steve Johnson brings a whole new fresh set of faces to his squad. What does Jackson need to do to continue the success they had last year?
Jackson needs to find I think the player to step up and be their leader this year, as they were last year with Kingman and the other seniors that played for him. So they need a leader on the floor to take over.
It's the first time in many years that someone named Kingma has not been anchoring this Jackson squad. The pregame timer has expired. We're waiting for the starting lineups to get going here. Great student sections from both sides. 200-300 people in the student section from both schools. The Jackson students mostly in black. A couple of referee uniforms up there. The Glacier Peak students in white. Of course, you always expect great turnouts from both schools, as they're only a couple of miles apart up and down 132nd Street here in southeast Everett and southwest Snohomish. A little bit of a delay here. I'm not sure what we're waiting for. It looks to be something with a uniform, as one of the Jackson players has gone back to change clothes. The officials are all standing here, and the clock has expired. We haven't begun the starting lineups yet. We'll take a chance to thank everybody for joining us and tell you about some of our sponsors. We are really grateful to have Shoreline Community College with us this year, saving a spot for you. Shoreline has great programs in many areas, particularly in film and broadcast technology. A great program. We talked to the director of that program on one of our football broadcasts earlier this year, and they're always accepting applications at shoreline.edu. Make sure and give them a look today.
They're our premier sponsor.
They're
we found out just yesterday.
The headlining sponsor for basketball. All right. Thank you, Shoreline Community College. We really appreciate their support, and all of our sponsors for making these broadcasts possible. We'll go ahead and take a look at the starting lineups here. First for the visiting Grizzlies, led by longtime head coach Brian Hunter. A little bit of inexperience for the Grizzlies, something they may not be used to. The guards, 6-foot sophomore Zach Hatch, and a senior 6'4" Brady Southard. Of course, Southard, the quarterback of the very successful Glacier Peak football team. On the wing, 6'1" senior Grant Peltier, and number 21 is Justin Guffey, also contributed highly on the football squad. He's a junior at 6'1". And in the middle, is Jacob Middendorf, 6'4". He's just a sophomore. A lot of growing to do for the Grizzlies big man, and a big test for him here tonight against the Jackson Timberwolves. Glacier Peak has played a game. They are 1-0 on the year. It's a non-conference win over the Snohomish Panthers back on Tuesday night. Jackson High School, led by Steve Johnson, they have not played this year, coming off a season in which they were ranked number 1 in the state for most of the year. Went down and won that massive invitational tournament down in Palm Springs over the Christmas break, and lost a heartbreaker to Issaquah in the round of 8 at the state tournament. Bounced back to take that 4th place trophy, and a little bit different face for them. Some new names, some inexperience. They're led by senior point guard Frank Rossi, 6-foot guard, and also a senior 5'11" guard Dolan Tierney. Senior Yegor Gorbenko, 6'2" forward. Sam Softner is a junior, 6-foot forward. And in the middle is Colton Faddis. He's a junior at 6'5". He'll anchor the middle for the Timberwolves. Officials for this contest, the referee, Mr. Todd Weber. The umpires are Mr. Rob Fidley and Mr. Bill C. Once again, you're watching Western Conference basketball on the Snohomish Times Sports Network. Nathan Murphy here with Ron Henthorn. We're very glad to have you with us as we await the start of this one. This is our inaugural broadcast for the 2014-15 season for boys basketball. And we're just glad every one of you is with us tonight around Snohomish County, around the state, around the country. Thanks for joining us.
It's basketball. The Bears against the Wolves, I guess.
There's nothing like early December and the excitement of a new basketball season. And we'll take a pause now as we await the national anthem. You're watching Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com.
Referees for tonight's game is Todd Weber, Bill C.
Is this a chance again? We have to thank all the great people who helped us put on this broadcast. Wesco Septic Service. Try them out. awescoseptic.com or call 888-488-5588. Tell them that you heard this ad on STSPN.com and you will get $50 off your next service. They offer 24-hour service, 7 days a week with over 25 years of experience.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day, did you say?
24 hours a day. You just call them or go online and they'll help you out.
How often do you get midnight septic service?
Not very often. Drew Vader. Or often at our house. We have a septic. We're all about septic at the Oshman Messina household.
NBA 3 ball. He just absolutely drains that one.
Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com. We're really glad to have all of you with us, Nathan Murphy and Ron Henthorn, as we get ready to begin a new season in high school basketball.
You know, Nathan, you mentioned earlier that large crowd of Grizzly fans over there, and tonight the Grizzly girls have a game back at Glacier Peak, a home game against Monroe, and so I wonder which team has the most fans for the Grizzlies tonight. We'll have to check in on that later.
You know, if it were a road game anywhere but Jackson or maybe Snohomish, I'd say the home game. But just up the road here, this is an easy trip for these fans. And, I mean, a matchup against Jackson, you're not going to pass that one up. We're all set to go here at Jackson High School. The ball's in the air, and the tip is controlled by Jackson, and it's Tierney. Into the front court with it. Early possession for the Timberwolves. It's Gorbenko. Back for Tierney, dribbling on the left side. Now up top for Rossi. He'll launch a long three, no good, short. Rebound Jackson, though. It's Gorbenko comes down with it. Gives to Tierney, thought about the three, now will drive to his left. Nicely defended there. Southard with the block off. The ball's loose on the floor. Southard comes up with it, but can't hang on to it, and it's going to be a layup for Dolan Tierney. First points of the game for either side. Almost a nice steal from Southard, but he couldn't hang on to it, and Tierney with the layup, and now back the other way come the Grizzlies. Peltier with the basketball. Dribbles into the lane, a little floating 12-footer, no good. Has his own rebound, though. Drops it off for Southard, and a foul off the ball. Before the shot, says Bill C., so it'll be a throw-in for the Grizzlies. Foul's going to go on Gorbenko. That's his first. And it's the first team foul for the Jackson Timberwolves. Inbounds pass comes into Middendorf, and before the shot, a foul called, and Glacier Peak wanted that one, and they got it. And that's going to be Gorbenko's second, so right away, two big fouls on the Jackson big guy. Inbounds pass comes, and it's taken by Hatch. Looking in for Southard, almost tied up, but a nice pass over for Peltier. And he drops it in, and it's two up early. Give the assist to Southard on that one.
Some good contact going on inside there, and they're kind of letting it go
in the corner. Missed by Softner, and it'll bounce out of bounds, but it bounced off of a Glacier Peak Grizzly, and so it'll be Jackson ball.
That was Zach Hatch over there trying to control that rebound and just kind of lost the handle on it there.
Ron, it's interesting about the contact because it's a rule change in high school basketball this year to mirror what the college ranks did last year, where contact on the ball handler is going to be called much more strictly than it was.
Yeah, I noticed that in the JV game too. Anytime you had a hand on them, they called it.
And there's exactly what we're talking about, is that foul's going to go against Purcell.
Yep, just drive by and put that hand out, and you're going to get called for it.
I'm incorrect on that. That's going to go on Middendorf, so that's his first, and it's the first on the Grizzlies. And that's the standard this year. A hand on that stays there, two hands on, a second touch or an armbar. Those are all supposed to be fouls. Layup missed. Jackson wanted contact, and that is going to be a foul on Southard, as kind of chopping Faddis down to the deck was the Glacier Peak big guy.
You can almost call that a clip, couldn't you?
A little bit of a low block there. That'll be his first foul, second against the Grizzlies. So two fouls on either team now. And 2 points for both teams as well. 6.5 minutes left in the first quarter. We're still in the early going here at Jackson.
Back addressing that hand check, we watched the JV game earlier, and I think the Jackson boys there have a lot to learn because I didn't get the exact count, but I heard somebody say that there was like 40 or more fouls called in that game against Jackson, and most of them hand fouls.
Spinning layup missed by Gorbenko, but Faddis gets the rebound, and he'll go to the free throw line. Nice rebound for the Jackson big guy. And the foul charge to Grant Peltier. That's his first, third on the Grizzlies, and two free throws coming for Faddis. It's going to be a challenge for all the teams in the league as well as for the officials to keep that consistency. It's something that they've been talking about. It's something that the teams have been talking about, and a lot's going to come down in the early weeks of the year to who adjusts more quickly.
Yeah, definitely have to learn that little different play session there.
Faddis gets one of two, and Jackson leads it 3-2 with about 2 minutes gone here in quarter number one. Glad everybody's with us tonight. Nathan Murphy, Ron Henthorn, Jackson, Glacier Peak. Early season cross-conference matchup. Cross-division matchup, rather. Wesco 4A and Wesco 3A South in the case of the Grizzlies. Southard almost had it taken away. Instead, he gets it over to Hatch for three. Missed it long. Rebound fought over and controlled eventually by Glacier Peak. And I think he fell out of bounds with it. Peltier had the ball. And though they are going to give it to Glacier Peak, I apologize. So it looks like it went off of Frank Rossi.
Interesting call. He had the ball laying on the ground out of bounds.
I think it must have been knocked there before he landed there. But
yeah, knocked him back.
Obviously, Bill C. was there, and I'm up here.
Yep. His call counts.
And a foul called now.
That's another foul on.
It's the same thing, and that's the third on Gorbenko, and you could immediately see Steve Johnson rather said, you got to learn this, and that's going to be the challenge. Ethan Hammond checks into the lineup for Jackson, and 3 fouls in the first 2 minutes and 16 seconds is not the way that Yegor Gorbenko wanted to start his year, Ron.
No, and he gets put on the bench for that one.
He's going to sit the rest of the half at least. Peltier to his left. He's watched there by Softner. Gets it inside. And turnaround jumper is good for Middendorf from about 4 feet. Steve Johnson wanted an offensive foul. I didn't have a real good look at it, but Middendorf puts it in, and Glacier Peak leads it 4-3. Up at the top with it is Faddis. Now it's Tierney. On the right side, Softner a long 3, and he got it. And another lead change. Now it's 6-4 Jackson. Back and forth in the early going. 3 minutes gone by in the first quarter. It's 6-4 Timberwolves. Dribbling in the front court is Peltier. Hands it for Middendorf. Cross-court pass. It's a nice one for Hatch, but he missed the 3 off to the left. And a foul on the rebound. It's going to go the other way.
It might be Brady, I think.
If so, it would be his second. And it is on Brady Southard, so he's got 2 quick fouls here in the first quarter. 4 on the Grizzlies. And Jackson has 3, and he'll take a seat in favor of Jacob Argue. First appearance for Mr. Argue. He is a senior, 6'4" post. And Jackson with the basketball in the front court. On the left side. Softner with the ball back up top, and it's Rossi. Rossi tried to beat his man and instead gives it for Softner again. Softner thought he had drawn the foul. Instead, he walks with it. He tried to duck under the jumping man, and instead, he moved his pivot foot. That's going to be a turnover on the Timberwolves.
That is.
6-4 Jackson. Glacier Peak inbounds, and they'll move it slowly up into the front court.
Whoa, there's a big turnover right like that.
Peltier tossed it right out of bounds as I looked down to take a sip of my water. Shame on me.
That kind of reminds me of a quarterback saying, I said out, not in. You throw it
Certainly
out of
the miscommunication on the route, as it were.
Yeah.
A little bit more improvisation on the basketball floor, I think.
Yep.
Jackson in their front court, handled by Hammond. Nice pass underneath. And Jackson thought that Faddis got fouled, and he missed both layups, and it's tipped high up in the air trying to chase the ball down as Hatch. Can he get there? No. It's picked up instead by Rossi, and Jackson will push back ahead. Rossi almost lost the handle. Now he gives it for Tierney. Thought about the 3. Gives it for Hammond. Hammond at the top of the circle. He's watched there by Middendorf. And another travel. Wow. This time it's Faddis who turns it over. So a couple turnovers for both teams here in the early going. We're just past the halfway mark in the first quarter. 2 traveling violations and a couple of balls lost out of bounds. I think 2 turnovers for each team so far.
Yeah, that's what I've got, and it looks like that could be a changing pattern of the game here if they keep getting active and throwing it out of bounds like that.
Jumper from Middendorf, no good from 10 feet, and the ball out of bounds. Looks like it was latched touch by Faddis, and they're going to give it back to Glacier Peak. 6-4, Jackson leads it. 3:23 left in quarter number 1. Nathan Murphy and Ron Henthorn here in the den at Jackson High School. We're glad you're all with us on STSPN.com. Inbounds pass comes to Middendorf. Can't get it from under the glass. And the rebound is handled eventually by Tierney. Pushes it ahead. Long 3 from Softner, and he got it. Sam Softner. That's his second 3-pointer. And it's 9-4 Jackson. 3 minutes to go here in period number 1.
Well, Softner's got the 3-point hot hand for the Jackson here tonight, and let's see who can pick it up for the Grizzlies here.
Sam Softner with 6 quick points. In the front court for Glacier Peak, it's Peltier. Hands it off for Argue. Jacob Argue dribbling to his left. Now to the top of the key, it's Purcell. Playing very high. Purcell watched by Rossi. Tries to drive around him, and he does. Into the lane. A little bit of contact. No whistle. And the rebound's picked up and dumped in by Argue. So he's got his first 2 points at the game, and Jackson leads it now 9-8. 9-6. It's a 3-point game. 2.5 minutes in the first period. Faddis on the left side. Now back up top for Tierney. He'll take the 3. He got it. Dolan Tierney pushes the lead back up to 6. It's 12-6 Jackson as we approach 2 minutes in the first period. Into the front court with it is Peltier. Moves to his right and a whistle underneath. It's an offensive foul. And it looks like a clear out. The foul's going to go against Jacob Argue. That's his first. And it's the 15th foul. Jackson substitutes into the game are Ian Wilgris and Brian Brown. Rossi has a seat, as does Colton Faddis. A little bit of rest as we cross 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Jackson leads it so far 12-6, Grunt.
A very fast-paced quarter. Not many fouls going on.
The
there.
Clock's been running. And a whistle underneath. And an offensive foul on this end. So a clear out down against Glacier Peak. Now we've got one against Jackson. And it goes against number 30. That's Ethan Hammond. It's his first. And the fourth foul against Jackson.
Glacier Peak leading in the foul line tonight, 5-4 on this first period.
Only 2 free throws shot. They were taken by Faddis. He got one of the 2. Driving around the screen is Hatch. 15-foot jumper from the elbow, no good. Jackson can't find the rebound though, and Hatch has it back. Steve Johnson in the ear of Bill C. He wanted a foul on the rebound. He didn't get it. And Glacier Peak goes back to work. Haven't threatened the shot clock yet. 20 seconds on that. As Middendorf handles it, now in the corner, long three by Argue, and he got it. I'm sorry, that's Purcell.
That's Justin Guffey. 21 Guffey. Justin Guffey.
I've got my roster wrong here. Justin Guffey with the 3. And at the other end, a 3 is no good, and that's off of the hand of Hammond, and instead we'll come back the other way. 12-9 your score, under a minute to play in period number 1. Falling away, Argue from 15 feet, can't get it, and the rebound is handled by Softner. 50 seconds left to go. Jackson will have to take a shot. They could go 2 for 1 if they hurry, but that does not look like what they're going to try and do. Hammond with the basketball. Gives it for Softner, turns it over. Back the other way we come, and Glacier Peak will slow it down and take the last shot. About a 3-second difference right now between the shot clock and the first quarter. Holding the ball is Peltier. Now will dribble once to his left and throw it across for Argue. He dribbles back to the top of the circle. Into the corner again for Guffey. Guffey almost turns it over, and a foul called, and that's going to go against Guffey as he ran over Dolan Tierney, who was trying to chase down the loose ball in the backcourt.
Yeah, Guffey going for the ball same time and just hit him in the arm.
He hit him with more than that by the looks of it. The foul's going to go against Justin Guffey, his first. It's the 6th on Glacier Peak. As checking in for Jackson is Parker Manalo.
Well, Justin Guffey off the football field. He doesn't slow down for anything.
And another substitution. Glacier Peak will send Logan Priest into the game. And Guffey will take a seat with the foul. 11.9 left in the period. Jackson with the ball in the front court. They'll get the chance to take the last shot. But the pass running the wrong way was Tierney, and into the front court with it, laying it up and in is Hatch. Back the other way, 3 seconds. Long 3 on the way for Tierney, no good. Rebound taken down by Middendorf, and that will be the end of the first quarter. So Hatch's layup will end the period on a 5-0 run by Glacier Peak. They lead it 12-11. We've played one. Jackson 12, Glacier Peak 11. You're watching Wesco basketball on STSPN.com.
Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Tell Steve. Welcome back to the Den at Jackson High School. Nathan Murphy, Ron Henthorn here after a quarter. Jackson leads it 12-11. It was 12-6 at one point, Ron, but 5 quick points at the end of the period for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, some of that happened on those turnovers in there, so a little bit aggressive playing on both sides, but Grizzlies came back, and this is going to be a close game all the way down to the end is my prediction. Probably going to end up to see who can fire those threes off as we have Jackson with 3 threes on the board and Glacier Peak with 1 3 on the board here tonight.
Jackson shooting the ball well in the early going. We'll see if they can continue. Glacier Peak will have the possession to begin the second period. Guffey gets it into Hatch, and we're underway. Hatch into the front court, watched by Sofferer. Gives for Middendorf, and we've got a foul. I think it's going to go on Marshall for pushing Middendorf. It is indeed on Carter Marshall. That's his first, and the 5th on Jackson. So 5 team fouls on the Timberwolves rather.
So they had him doubled up there, and so one guy pushed him in the back and one in the front.
And 6 on the Grizzlies. Back into the lineup is Brian Brown, and we've got a whistle on the far side of the floor. On the floor before the shot, says Bill C. And another throw-in coming. This is the last foul to give for Jackson, and it goes on number 33, Parker Manello. That's his first, and 6 on the Timberwolves. Marcus Sullivan makes his first appearance. Ian Wilgris has a seat. Either team will shoot free throws for the rest of the period here. Inbounds pass to Middendorf. Nice little turnaround hook from about 3 feet. So Glacier Peak takes the lead, 13-12. Back the other way comes Jackson. Brown throws it back up top, and it's Manolo. Into the corner, and the pass couldn't be handled by Marshall, so Jackson turns it over, and it'll go back to Glacier Peak. 13-2. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
Coach Steve Johnson trying to settle the boys down out there. They're getting a little bit wild on the
pace is just a bit frantic, isn't it?
It is. They're running hard.
Early season sloppiness you expect.
There's another foul that didn't get called.
And the confusion from trying to adjust as a three-pointer from Justin Guffey. That's a clean shot with a hand at his face. Nice take. Now back the other way, and another turnover for Jackson.
Just like that, I've got 6 turnovers for Jackson here.
A lot of sloppiness early on here, and Steve Johnson might want to think about a timeout. He's not going to take one. It's 16-12 Glacier Peak as we cross the first minute of the second quarter. 7 minutes left to go in the second. Glacier Peak with the 4-point edge. Nice little slip pass, but he couldn't handle it. It'll come back up for Hatch. 3 on the way, can't get it, and the rebound taken by Brown. Tries to push it, but it's knocked away by Hatch, and it'll go back out of bounds to Jackson.
Well, he was lucky he didn't get a foul for sticking his hand there to bounce that one out of there.
Faddis checks into the lineup. Marshall will have a seat. Rossi takes the inbounds pass in the backcourt. Double teamed, he didn't get into the front court. Now it comes to Brown and back for Rossi. Rossi back to Brown, back to Rossi again. A little bit of catch between those two. Swung onto the right side. Timeout Jackson.
Okay, so
a little bit of stagnation on the offensive end for the Timberwolves, and they'll take a timeout. Are we going to keep it here?
We can take a quick timeout.
30-second timeout, so we'll take a quick one. We'll be right back, STSPN.com. Do you want to go on every timeout?
We all want to protect our gift of sight, which is why regular eye exams are so important. Regular eye exams not only allow your optometrist to improve the quality of your vision by changing the prescription of your glasses or contact lenses, but also to assess your overall eye health. Even if you see clearly now, it does not mean your eyes are healthy or won't change over time.
Welcome back to the Den, as they call it, at Henry M. Jackson High School. The home team trailing by 4, 16-12 the edge for the Grizzlies. Coming out of that timeout, 15 on the timer for Jackson. Rossi with the ball at the top of the arc. Thought about the three. Manolo now will take it. He got it. Parker Manolo. And Jackson back to within a point. It's 16-15 Glacier Peak. Into the front court with it is Peltier. And a foul called. It's going to go against Manolo. And Peltier is going to go to the free throw line. The foul is indeed on Manolo. It's his seventh team foul on the Jackson Timberwolves, and Glacier Peak will go to the free throw line. It's Grant Peltier.
Interesting shooting, though, after that three-pointer by Manolo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 of their 16 points are off of three-pointers.
Front end of the 1-and-1, no good, and the rebound pulled down by Faddis, so Jackson will control into the front court. It's Rossi. Faddis at the top of the arc. Manolo again for 3. That one's no good long. And the rebound's taken down by Middendorf. Peltier will take it into the front court. Hatch on the bench. Hatch has moved over to the 2, and it looks like Peltier is going to handle the point. Hatch will take the 3, though, missed it short. Faddis had the ball in his hands, and he couldn't bring it down, and it's going to go out of bounds to Glacier Peak. Steve Johnson, hold the ball, chin the ball, he says. Use your strength. He's a big guy.
Yeah, Zach Hatch has fired about 4 or 5 of those free throws tonight and hasn't grabbed either one.
And a
of them,
whistle away from the ball. I think we got a hold, and it looks like Middendorf is going to go to the line. If the foul's on Faddis, it would be his first. And it is. So that's the first on the junior. And Middendorf will shoot a 1-and-1. Just the second free throw taken by Glacier Peak, only 2 taken by Jackson. Front end is good, and you'll notice a little bit different in high school basketball this year. They're letting the players come in on the release of the throw run. The 6 players in the marked lane spots can go on the release. It's a change back to what the Federation was doing prior to about 1999.
I like that change too.
Both free throws are good, both of them off the glass for Middendorf, so he's got 6 points. And the Glacier Peak lead is 3, 18-15. 5:38 to go in the period. Manalo drives, tries to dish it off for Faddis. Instead, it's turned over. And Hatch will move it up. Zach Hatch on the right side, watched there by Rossi. Thinks about driving. Keeps it where it is. Now we got to count on. 24 to shoot. On the left side, it's Middendorf. Entry pass.
Threw it to the rim.
Tipped away.
Right in Todd Weber's hands over there.
I think Faddis got a hand on it. He did indeed try and pass it directly to Mr. Weber. He'll hand it back to the Grizzlies. Middendorf slips through, and he lays it up and in. That's a nice job. Catch the high entry pass. Step through a couple defenders. He's got 8 points with 5.5 left to go here in the first period, or rather 5 and change. 5:05 now. 20-15 is the Grizzly lead. Nathan Murphy, Ron Henthorn, STSPN.com. We're glad you're with us. Dribbling is Sullivan. Now Soferer. Sam Soferer for Rossi, drives to his left into the key, pulls up about the free throw line, dumps it inside, 6 on the timer, and a turnover again taken away from him by Guffey.
That zone defense is working pretty good for the Grizzlies down there now. They can't seem to break it.
A lot of success on the defensive end now for the Grizzlies, but a zone, considering the success Jackson has had shooting the 3, we'll see how long it works for him. Argue. Into the corner for Hatch. Now it's Peltier. Thinking about going around Manalo. Gets a screen. Now he dumps it inside. Little 8-foot jump shot by Argue's no good, and the rebound is taken down by Jackson. And he'll move it slowly ahead. Will Marcus Sullivan into the front court. Rossi on the left. Looks inside. Had nobody there. In the time he took to dribble, a defender came over. The rebound taken down. Now a foul, and Sullivan's going to go to the line to shoot a couple. Colton Faddis had nobody between him and the basket, and he sensed pressure where there wasn't any.
20, I think that's Guffey, right? So
it is his second on Justin Guffey and the 7th on Glacier Peak.
3:55 here as we shot this first of 2 free throws here. Nope.
Both teams in the bonus about halfway through here. This is a shooting foul, so he'll get the second. Dolan Tierney comes back into the game for Manalo, who had that 3. And another sub waiting at the bench is Hammond. He's going to replace the shooter, Sullivan, at the next opportunity. 20-15 the score. 3:55 left here in quarter number 2. Glacier Peak with the lead as we play in the second quarter. Second free throw from Sullivan. This one rattles in, and he'll exit the lineup. 20-16 now the score. Both teams shooting free throws the rest of the way here in the first half. Grant Peltier with the basketball. Slowly through the backcourt, crosses the timeline. Not a lot of urgency from either team in bringing the ball up, but frantic pace in the front court. Underneath is Argue, tries to lay it up. A little bit of a difficult angle, but the rebound is knocked away and controlled by Middendorf. 3 on the way from Guffey, and it's good. And a quick timeout. Hang on, what have we here? It's going to be a delay of game warning on Glacier Peak. Jacob Argue knocked the ball away, so that's the delay of game warning. It goes in the scorebook. And if they do any of the delay of game actions again, that's a team technical foul.
Automatic awarded foul.
A team technical foul if we do it again, but for now, just a warning. So the three is good by Guffey, and the Glacier Peak lead is 7 now, 23-16. Now a three in the corner from Tierney. That misses everything. And the rebound's handled by Hatch. So the early shooting that was going so well for Jackson has kind of gone away from him here in the second period. And Glacier Peak's opened up their largest lead of the game at 7. Peltier with the basketball up for Hatch. Tipped away inside. Nice play by Faddis, and he'll bring it ahead. Now Rossi slows it up, waits for teammates, gives it for Tierney. Dolan Tierney. He'll pull it all the way back, and Jackson will set up. A little bit of a spread motion, looks like. Working against the zone. Faddis with the ball, gives it for Tierney. Into the corner for Rossi. Three from the same spot he just missed from, and that one glances off the front of the rim. And the rebound taken by Hatch. Peltier will bring it ahead, and a foul. As he crosses midcourt, that's going to go against Sofferer, and we're going to shoot free throws again.
Sofferer fouled him when he got the ball on the other end of the court, chased him down the court, and fouled him from behind.
Well, justice is served, as you might say, and to the free throw line goes Grant Peltier. 2:29 left in the second quarter. 23-16, Glacier Peak leads. Front end of the 1-and-1 is good. And Peltier will get another one. He's got 3 in the game. 9 team fouls on the Timberwolves, so the next one will send Glacier Peak to the line for 2. Free throw's good. He got them both. And checking back into the game is Brian Brown. Hammond has a seat. Steve Johnson not afraid to use his bench. He's got a deep rotation in the early going here. So you might expect a little bit of inexperience on this team, as we were talking about. Brown with it in the front court.
Very definitely. He's going to have to figure out who his players are.
Hands
so
it to Faddis.
Good time to try him out right here early in the game.
Tierney for Rossi, Frank Rossi. Brown looks inside for Tierney, and he can't handle the pass. It looks like it was tipped by Middendorf, but it went back off of Tierney.
Yeah, hit Tierney in the leg as he tipped it to him, so it goes down as a turnover in the books, I guess.
And another turnover for Jackson. What's your count, Ron?
I got him at 10 right now.
10 turnovers in the first half, and there's still 2 minutes left. A 9-point lead for Glacier Peak, but they commit an offensive foul now. An illegal screen, says Todd Weber.
It might be Middendorf.
We'll see. It's not, it's Hatch.
Hatch.
Away from the ball, trying to set that down screen there. So the foul on Hatch is the 8th team foul on the Grizzlies, but of course, no free throws, a team control foul.
1:50 left to run this period.
25-16, Glacier Peak has opened up a 9-point lead on the road here at Jackson. Brown gets the pass in the corner, back up to Rossi. Dribbling to his left, it's Tierney. Not a lot going on offense here for Jackson outside of the little passing along the arc. Steve Johnson looks a little bit frustrated on the Jackson bench. Tierney tries to drive into the lane, watched there by Guffey, and his shot again misses. Nice rebound taken up by Faddis. And the shot clock horn goes off. What's going on? The ball's still live. And now we've got a whistle. And the officials will discuss whether the ball hit the rim. I'm going to be honest, I don't know. I lost track of the timers. I was trying to see who had taken down that rebound, and now they're going to ask the third man out, and that's Bill C. Of course, no video review available in high school basketball.
Most of the players there kind of quit playing when the 30-second clock went off.
Well, you see that happen when the 35 horn goes, even when the ball hit the rim. It's something early in the season, it's a focus thing.
Yeah.
Both coaches think that they're going to get the outcome here.
I think this is going to be a Glacier Peak out-of-bounds ball. That's what I think.
Brian Hunter looks pretty upset, so I think they're going to give it back to Jackson on the inadvertent whistle. They're going to say the ball hit the rim and award a reset of the shot clock. Now, Steve Johnson's going to be a little upset because if that ball did hit the rim, Ron, everybody stopped except for Dolan Tierney, who took it and laid it in.
Yep.
So a lot of confusion here, but...
well, they're not going to get the points, that's for sure.
But they are going to get the ball. Brian Hunter very unhappy.
Yeah.
But it is going to be a Jackson throw-in with a fresh 35. So both coaches, I guess, a little aggrieved out of that situation, but Jackson gets the basketball. It comes in for Faddis, and he'll jump from 6 feet and bank it in. A much-needed score for Jackson. It's their first in quite some time. And Glacier Peak almost turns it over, but getting the handle is Argue. Now it's Peltier. Almost ran into Steve Johnson, but a nice curl now, and a foul away from the ball is going to send Glacier Peak back to the line. I think that's going to go on Brown. And it is. So that's the first on Brian Brown and team foul number 10 on the home team.
Now, Brian hasn't been in there very long, so he hasn't figured out yet he can't put his hands on anybody.
It's going to be a learning process for everybody, as we've been saying all along. As the first free throw from Peltier is good. 26-18, it's an 8-point lead for Glacier Peak. They led by 9 until the Peltier jumper a moment ago. And the second free throw rims out, and the rebound is taken down by Faddis.
Oh, going to be a turnover again.
Faddis took the rebound. Middendorf took it away from him and then threw it right out of bounds. I think they'll probably give the rebound and a turnover to Middendorf. If I were the scorer, that's what I would do.
I gave him the turnover.
All right. So it'll be Jackson basketball, under a minute to play now. 45 seconds in the second period. Jackson looking to score and narrow the margin here. It's an 8-point game late in the second quarter. Jumper no good though, off of Soffer's hand, and Jackson misses again, running up ahead quickly and scoring his Hatch. And it's a 10-point lead for the Grizzlies. Back comes Jackson. Under 30 seconds to play. Shot clock is off. Rossi will pull it back and play for one. Now it's Sofferer. Inside for Brown. Watched there by two big guys, and he turns it over. Argues the one who will pull it down, and now 11 seconds, 10 seconds left in the period. Last shot attempt for Glacier Peak. Peltier with the basketball. He's watched by Sofferer. Gets a screen, goes the other way. Hatch for three. It's good at the buzzer. Zach Hatch puts an exclamation point on that first half for Glacier Peak. And at the end of two, it's Glacier Peak 31 and Jackson 18.
I'm very happy Zach Hatch there after shooting about 4 or 5 blanks and Bunny nails one right at the end of the half there.
And I'll tell you, I didn't get a good look at the screen because I was watching Hatch, but Steve Johnson was furious. He thought there was an illegal screen there. Like I said, I didn't get a look. But Hatch certainly popped open very quickly, so the screen was either a very good one or Steve had a complaint. But without the benefit of replay, we won't be able to tell you.
And it won't matter because it's over now.
A huge second quarter for Glacier Peak. They take a 13-point lead into the halftime break. They lead it 31-18. You're watching Wesco basketball on STSPN.com.
We actually do have replay.
We have replay?
We have instant replay.
Well, that's new. You didn't tell me.
I was going to wait for a little bit to tell you, but it's as fast. The problem with it is that a lot of times these teams are so fast that by the time I hit the replay button, they're on the other end scoring.
Sure.
But we'll go into break here, and I'll show you.
Okay, so we'll go to break on STSPN.com.
Well, that's halftime. So if you got that replay, the last shot,
we'll go find it.
Well, this Wolf something, the guy that's in charge of this is going to speak here for a minute, and then he's going to come up and take your headphones, and he's going to talk to us about this feeder program for Jackson.
Sounds good. We'll take a quick break on STSPN.com. We'll be right back. Wesco basketball. Thanks for being with us.
We've kind of started a tradition the last couple of years when we bring the younger kids out, let you kind of see what's coming, give you a little taste of what we're doing in the feeder program. Along the line up here, we have our six.
Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
The Eye Care Center of Snohomish on Avenue D is here to help with all your eye care needs. Our professional staff is committed to offering the most sophisticated, high-end, latest technologies to our patients. And the Eye Care Center is a relaxed atmosphere, allows you to browse the over 800 high-end designer frames, including some for the little ones. There's really no reason to go anywhere else. See us online at eyecarecenterofsnohomish.com or call 360-568-6666.
Welcome back to Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com. We're here at Henry M. Jackson High School where the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, on the strength of a huge second quarter, have jumped out to a 31-18. With me is Bill Sullivan. He's the director of Wolfpack basketball. Bill, and that's the feeder program here at Jackson. Tell us about what you do, Bill.
You know, the purpose of our program is to really get kids prepared to play high school basketball. Sorry, I got a football player too. But high school basketball, we start at the 5th grade level. Most of the teams in Wesco, the schools in Wesco, have a program, so we get to play them. The kids kind of get to know each other. They get an idea of what the offenses are going to be like, the motion, the defenses, all that type of stuff, the terminology for high school.
Now, that's something that not every high school conference has, but the Wesco Feeder League's been around for many, many years, and you can see the impacts as the level of play continues to rise in this conference.
You really can, and a lot of schools take different approaches to it, where they put a lot of emphasis on the program as far as winning at that level. We are more of kind of developing the kids. The nice thing about these AAU programs, we draw just from the middle schools that feed our high schools. And it really gets that sense of community. It gets that sense of pride of flying the flag for the high school a little bit before they get there.
Well, and in a sport like basketball too, Bill, certainly the idea of having played with some of the same kids for 6-8 years, sometimes for many years before you even get to the high school program, it really can make a difference.
It really can. You know, it saves the high school coaches a tremendous amount of time. If we teach them their practice routine, if we teach them their terminology, if we teach them their warm-up routines, all of those types of things, it really gets them prepared to succeed at the high school level.
In your program, Bill, do you run the same exact offensive playbook that the big school does?
Well, we sure try to, and sometimes we take a few lumps on the chin because of it, but you know, the success of the high school program, we feel like, is a direct result of what we do at the feeder program. We do just kind of suck it up, play man-to-man, and those things are going to be doing at the older level, and the kids sure respond very well.
The Jackson program, of course, with a historically successful year last year, the number 1 ranking for much of the year, the tournament victory down in California. How many of those kids were playing in your program before they got here?
Every one of them.
Every single one of them?
Every single one of them. And, you know, the nice thing about that is we do a few different things with our program. We have a mentor program. All of our varsity kids get a kid that's in the feeder program. They give them a little love when they come in the gym. They give them a little heads up. They check how their games went over the weekend, and it really creates that bond in the community. We have a lot of younger brother, older brother scenarios,
sure,
too, and it's just a fantastic way to go about it.
So I have to ask you this, and I know everyone in the Jackson program is tired of hearing this question. What does the future of Jackson basketball look without the letters K-I-N-G-M-A?
You know, when you go through a tradition of Isingers and Todds and Kingmas, it's kind of nice to have those flows, but we really do have a very, very strong
on the road.com.
He just drains that one.
STSPN is proud to present Western Conference Basketball, our first boys basketball contest of the year here Ron Henthorn is with me. Of course, Todd Elvig is always with a strong point for them in the first quarter, and then Glacier Peak started to find a few more lanes to get to the...
I'm able to break that defense. See if they figured out that at halftime.
It's a very high zone, and Glacier Peak is closing out on perimeter guys, as you see right there. Another turnover. Tierney couldn't pass it over Southard, and Glacier Peak takes it away on the first possession. In the front court with it is Peltier. Working on the right side. Now onto the left. Thought about the three, did Middendorf, but he turns it over, taken away by Faddison. Into the front court come the Timberwolves, and they turn it over. Quick turnovers on both ends here. Pushing it ahead, and another turnover. Nope, it looks like Jackson's going to keep Glacier Peak rather is going to keep this one.
Almost a turnover.
As it looked like Faddis had his hands on it, but couldn't control the basketball.
Ooh.
Inbounds pass knocked away, but can't track it down is Soffer, but now he does. Soffer tries to get around Peltier. Instead, he'll pull up from the elbow and knock it down. That's a big jumper, 15 feet for Soffer. He's got 8 points in the contest. Quick rundown of the scoring that we forgot to do for Glacier Peak. Hatch finished the first half with 7, Guffey with 9, Middendorf with 8. Argue had 2, and Peltier had 5 as a whistle away from the ball. And a foul on Glacier Peak. It is going to go on number 20. That's on Jackson, and that's on Gorbenko. So he is going to sit right back down with his 4th personal foul run, 1 minute and 5 seconds into the third quarter.
Wow, he started out the game with 2 quick fouls. He starts out the second half with a foul, so.
He's got 4, and he really needs to adjust to the way they're going to call these games this year. Hatch with the ball. Gets it inside for Middendorf, can't hit the layup. Gets his own rebound, throws it out for Hatch, and it's taken away there by Rossi. Jackson pushes ahead. Rossi, dish for Tierney. Little bit of contact, no whistle. And Glacier Peak's going to go the other way. It could have been clean, hard to see from our angle. Swatted away by Faddis. Hatch tried to go up with it.
Yeah, Hatch.
And Steve Johnson's been warned for asking for that foul, for yelling presumably about what he thought was a foul down on this end. I didn't see what he was doing, but Bill C. tells him he's been warned.
And probably a trade-off because Zach got knocked clear out of bounds on that block after he blocked the shot and didn't get called for that either. So
Hatch in the corner. Gets it inside for Southard. Contact as he tries to turn around, and he's going to go to the free throw line. I didn't see who the fouler was. We'll find out. And it goes on Faddis. That's his 2nd. And the 2nd on Jackson. Southard goes to the free throw line. And it's a little bit long, you know, for a guy who throws footballs all day long. His stroke from the free throw line looks a little bit uneasy.
A little bit hard off the back of the rim there. See if this one drops better.
Second one's good. That's his first point of the game, and it's 32-20. 12-point lead. They led by 13, did Glacier Peak at halftime. Tierney thought about the long 3, gives for Rossi instead. Works off the screen of Hammond. Picks up his dribble, gives it to Hammond. Now in the corner for Sofferer. Two Timberwolves there, and neither one of them wanted to catch it. So instead, Glacier Peak takes it. Thank you very much. And they'll push ahead.
And that goes down as another turnover for Jackson.
Looking for their largest lead of the game are the Grizzlies. It would be 14 if they can get a field goal here. Hatch is watched there, and a 5-second violation as Hatch was dogged by Dolan Tierney.
Now that's an interesting call because he was on the move and he's still calling 5 seconds on that.
Well, that's the correct. That's the rule. So in boys high school ball, a dribbling count is separate from a held count. But if you're moving around the floor and the defender stays within 6 feet, the count continues. So it was. I'll say this: it was a correct call. Ron.
Well, just clarifying that for our viewers and me out there.
Cutting through to try and lay it up was Hammond, but a little bit to the right, and he can't get it to fall. Pushing ahead is Glacier Peak. Southern thought about the 3, now will take it. Hits the front iron, he can't get it, but the rebound taken by Middendorf, and he isn't going to miss. Timeout Glacier Peak. So the lead is 14. It's 34-20, 5:13 left to go in the third quarter. Glacier Peak leads at 34-20. It's a full timeout, so we'll take a break on STSPN.com.
The Eye Care Center of Snohomish on Avenue D is here to help with all your eye care needs. Our professional staff is committed to offering the most sophisticated, high-end, latest technologies to our patients. And the Eye Care Center is a relaxed atmosphere, allows you to browse the over 800 high-end designer frames, including some for the little ones. There's really no reason to go anywhere else. See us online at eyecarecenterofsnohomish.com or call 360-568-6666.
Glacier Peak has extended their lead here at Jackson High School. They lead the Timberwolves 34-20. And Ron Henthorn, the turnovers have continued for Jackson.
They have. They've got 3 quick ones here in this third period. Glacier Peak's got 2. So it'd be interesting to see how that continues or not continues and see how the fouls go, because they're still not learning how to keep their hands off of each other.
It's an adjustment for both teams, but it's worth noting again here that Glacier Peak did play on Tuesday night. They beat Snohomish by a score. We're getting the score here by a score of 58-44. That was on Tuesday. Another Jackson turnover as Faddis hands it right to Glacier Peak, and taking ahead trying to lay it up is Hatch. And he's fouled pretty clearly on the way to the rim. That foul's going to go against Sullivan. That is his first. I'm sorry, it's not on Sullivan, it's on Soffer. That's Soffer's second, and it's the third on Jackson. So to the free throw line will go Zach Hatch. First one bounces around and out, and he'll get one more.
Always hate to see those fouls on that fast break like that, because you got 2 guys going up and both of them heading to the ground.
And it's a tough situation for officials sometimes, because it's not a play that's separate from the game of basketball. Both guys are making legitimate play.
They are.
And at the same time, you can go pretty hard to the deck or into the wall.
So Hatch hit 3 pointers the other night, but missed 2 free throws.
There you go. There you go. Well, he does have 7 points here tonight. And a 3-pointer by Tierney is no good, but a nice rebound by Faddis. Drives down the lane. Can't hit off the bounce, and a whistle after. It's going to be on the rebound, and Glacier Peak is going to get it again.
I think that's going against Faddis after that miss.
It is not. It's going on number 30, Ethan Hammond. That would have been my guess as well. Into the lineup for Jackson comes Connor Marshall, and Faddis is going to take a rest. 4 team fouls now on Jackson. 34-20 is the Glacier Peak lead. 4.5 minutes here in the third quarter. And Todd Elvig is showing off to us the fact that he can eat and we cannot during this contest. Easy. Nice pass down underneath, and laying it up is Middendorf. Give the credit to Southern on that. Nice touch pass from the quarterback. Middendorf has 12 points to lead all scorers. And Jackson needs a change here. They need a bucket to start with, and they need a couple of stops quickly. Turnaround jumper by Hammond, shot affected by Southern. Not a foul, I think. He got a hand in the face, but he blocked the shot or tipped the shot.
I think that's the way they're calling it. You hit the ball first and block that, and incidental contact afterward, they're going to let go.
That's fairly typical, and Steve Johnson certainly didn't like it, and now a foul down here.
That's going to go against Jackson, number 22.
I think it's going to go on Marshall, who just checked into the game. It would be his first.
Marshall
and that is who the foul is on. I'm sorry, that's his second foul.
Yeah.
5 now on Jackson. Steve Johnson, arms on hips down at this end. And that shot by Middendorf didn't go down, and now a foul on the loose ball, and who's it against? No indication yet which way we're going, and I think Jackson's going to get the basketball.
I think he just called a jump ball, or in this case, an arrow. Nope.
And it's going to be a foul on Middendorf. It's his second. Middendorf went to the floor, and the only question was if he was taken down or if he landed on somebody. And Todd Weber says it was the latter. He landed on somebody. So Manalo comes back in for Jackson. Tierney's going to take a break. And Jackson searching for answers. They trail by 16 here with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. Marshall with the basketball. Now it's Rossi. Drives in, 15-foot baseline jumper, rattles around but doesn't go down. The ball's tipped around and goes out of bounds. Touch last by Ethan Hammond. And it's going to be Glacier Peak ball, and Todd Weber says, wait a second. We're going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And they're going to reverse it.
Todd Weber turned it around.
I
don't often see that.
Well, for the viewers at home, officials have some leeway in how they choose to do that as a crew. They will talk about and decide, do you want to bring information or how do you want to do that? And what you saw there is the calling official was the one, and now a 5-second violation, so it doesn't matter anyway.
It just evened itself out, didn't it?
Jackson just can't find a break right now. They are struggling to stay off of the foul column. They are struggling on offense, and Glacier Peak is finding a lot of ways to score. So barring a change here in the last 3 minutes of the third quarter and in the fourth, Jackson's going to have some soul searching to do. It's really the first time in a long time as driving through the lane is Guffey and losing it out of bounds. It's going to be Jackson basketball.
Yeah.
Ron, it's the first time in many years that Jackson hasn't come in with the expectation set of who was going to carry the team.
That's right. And I don't think they found who that is yet. Kind of a...
You look back across multiple Division I recruits coming out of this program over the last 5 or 6 years, and when they left, freshmen and sophomores with a lot of big expectations, and so it's a change for this program, kind of searching for who's going to carry the load. Middendorf picks up the foul, and it's his third, and it'll send Rossi to the line. He hasn't scored yet tonight, but he'll get a couple free throws. First one misses off the front of the rim.
And you jinxed him a little bit, I think.
And Jackson's woes continue.
Yeah, I think Jackson needs to find that floor leader out there, as you were talking about, Nathan. So he's going to have to show up here pretty soon.
Well, if you just looked at the roster sheet for the Timberwolves, you wouldn't necessarily expect this because they do start 3 seniors. But they're guys who just weren't getting a lot of time in the rotation because last year Jackson had 5 or 6 seniors that got playing time. So these guys who were juniors just weren't seeing the floor. And nice turnaround by Jacob Middendorf to work around the pick. He's got 14 points.
Another assist from Brady Southard over the top, just like before.
And that's going to be the key, I think, for the Grizzlies on offense. And another turnover coming up with the steal is Middendorf. The other end, it's Hatch. He'll take the 3, and it's good. Zach Hatch into double figures. And a timeout, Jackson.
Hatch has finally found the range. Huh?
He has really been, that's his third 3 of the game. As you take a look at the replay here on STSPN, it's a full timeout, so we'll take a break. Jackson trails this one big, 41-20 Glacier Peak on STSPN.com.
Did you guys act for 13 points now?
Is here to help with all your eye care needs. Our professional staff is committed to offering the most sophisticated, high-end, latest technologies to our patients. And the Eye Care Center is a relaxed atmosphere, allows you to browse the over 800 high-end designer frames, including some for the little ones. There's really no reason to go anywhere else. See us online at eyecarecenter at Snohomish.com or call 360-568-6666.
The Glacier Peak students who made the drive up the road here are thoroughly enjoying this. The boys and girls in black next to them in the stands, maybe not so much, Ron.
Not so much, no. 2:22 left to go in this third period, and that 21-point lead is starting to look bigger and bigger.
Well, it's getting bigger and bigger. It was 13 at halftime after Hatch hit the 3 at the buzzer to extend it past 10. And in the 6 minutes since, it's grown to 21. So Glacier Peak just firing all cylinders right now. Jackson can't find answers. They've got the basketball. Manalo thought about the 3. Nice ball movement. Marshall will take the 3. He can't hit it. Brown tries to get the rebound, but he's not going to get there over Southard.
Right now, the Jackson boys don't have any height on the court, so they're not going to get any rebounds.
Southard gives it off on the left side for Hatch, and he's got another one. He's got 13 points and 4 3-point field goals to compete with. Did you say it was 8 the other night?
8, yeah. I've got him for 3 3-pointers tonight.
I'm sorry, you're right. That's his third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he does have
13 points, 3 3-point field goals.
Yep.
And the foul now is going to go on Argue. That's his second, and it's the third on the Grizzlies in the second half. 5 team fouls on Jackson. The pace of the personal fouls has slowed down here a little bit as you see the teams adjusting to the level of contact. You don't see the arms on the on the ball handlers between the free throw lines, and that's the biggest part of this rule change and point of emphasis.
Oh, nice fake.
Soffer got his man in the air, couldn't use it. Now he's got the ball back, gives it for Rossi. Moves to his left, gives it for Brown. Jackson continues to move the ball around the outside. They don't have a whole lot of size to use on the inside, and Southard's done well to cut off the entry. Nice little drive by Frank Rossi, and he's on the board. He had to go around Southern on the corner and then run into Hatch, but he managed to get it up and bounce it off the rim and off the window for his first points of the contest. So it's 44-22 as we approach a minute remaining in the third quarter. At the other end, a quick layup. That's Peltier. He's got 7. And it's 46-22, a 24-point lead. Rossi thought about the 3. Nice entry pass, but Southern says, I'll take that, thank you very much. Swats the shot away, pulls the rebound down. That's a nice play by the Glacier Peak big guy.
Nice block by Brady Southern down there.
Presumably you're going to see a lot of that, and Southern, and a foul's going to be called on Manalo. And now a technical foul is going to be called on Zach Hatch for his reaction after the foul.
He must have said something nice.
And he was warned earlier in the period very clearly by the officials. So a technical foul after the personal foul. So the personal foul goes on Manalo. It's his 3rd. And it's the 6th on Jackson. And then the technical foul goes on Zach Hatch. So that's his 2nd. And it's the 4th on Glacier Peak. Brian Hunter gets the explanation. Of course, we're unable to hear that, but
I took the headset off, tried to listen in a little bit, but he turned his head the other way, so I didn't need lips to look at it even to figure it out. But I think he had something about the way his arm was swinging or something like it.
Well, you could certainly see that the reaction wasn't a calm one after the foul by Manalo.
Yeah,
and he turned away and kind of swung. So it's the 6th foul, and it's a common foul, which means Glacier Peak doesn't have any free throws coming. So the 2 free throws will be shot by Jackson, and taking them is going to be Sofferer. And then Jackson's going to get the ball at the midcourt line across the floor from us. First free throw by Sofferer is good. He's got 9 points. And a substitution, it looks like. This is number 5, and that's not a number we had for Glacier Peak.
Number 5.
Perhaps another JV call-up. This might be Connor Seed. If that is the same number he wore on the JV roster, that's who that is. So that is who it is. All right. Nice when you're right, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So the 2 free throws are good by Sofferer. He has 10 points, and Jackson has the basketball. 46-24. And 28 seconds to go. Sofferer with a 20-foot jumper, or 18 feet rather, just inside the three-point line, and it's good. So he's got 12, and Jackson cuts the lead down to 20 as we play under 20 seconds in the third period.
Soffer looks like the high scorer here for Jackson so far tonight.
Guffey with the basketball, gets a screen from Argue. Jackson thought he traveled with it. Peltier dumps it off for Argue, and he hits 15 feet from the baseline as time expires. So after 3, Glacier Peak running away with this one. They lead it by a score of 48-26 over the Jackson Timberwolves. We'll be back. This is Western Conference Boys Basketball on STSPN.com.
Wow. Clogged drain? Other plumbing problems? Call Action Jackson Plumbing for 24-hour service. Owned by a lifetime Edmonds resident and Edmonds Woodway grad, Action Jackson is the drain cleaning specialist. They can unclog most internal drains for only $99 plus tax. Call 425-877-5601 or visit actionjacksonplumbing.com.
Are you a whiz in filmmaking? Do you want to become extraordinary in filmmaking? Then come to Shoreline Community College and work with Shoreline Productions, where you will learn to transform your work in teams of working professionals and students to create enchanting effects such as green screen, text animation, and so much more. So come to Shoreline Community College, where you can mystify and dazzle in filmmaking.
Welcome back to Jackson High School. Glacier Peak will get it to start the second period they have the ball at a 22-point lead, 48-26 over Jackson. And you can see the experience of these Glacier Peak players, certainly more despite the 3 seniors who start for Jackson. These are a lot of guys who didn't play a lot last year behind that all-star set of seniors, as turning around and scoring is Brady Southard.
Little turnaround underhand layup to quickly put Brady on the scoreboard here.
You know, we haven't seen that from him, but if he can use his size in the way of a traditional big man like that, he's going to have a lot of success. Long two taken by Jackson. That's Wilgris, and it's no good, but taken down rebound by Manalo. Running jump shot by Rossi won't go. And the rebound to Argue. Glacier Peak perfectly content to take this one slow. They've got a 24-point lead, 50-26 with 7:10 left in the ballgame. You'd say in regulation, but it would take a very big sea change here. Three-pointer for Brady Southard. The big guy not afraid to shoot it from outside, and he hits. He's 1 for 2 from out there tonight. And he's got 6 points after not scoring for 2.5 quarters. Manalo takes a 3. He can't hit. And Argue with another rebound. We're not tracking rebounds here, but he's got to have 5 or 6.
He definitely.
Very effective on the glass for Glacier Peak. Nice pass from Southard and a whistle.
Knocked out of bounds by Rossi, I think.
Well, we got a foul, I think. Pushed in the back was Guffey. So Guffey's going to go to the free throw line, and the foul was charged to Frank Rossi. That's his first, and it's 7 on Jackson in the second half. So they're going to shoot free throws, will Glacier Peak. Tierney comes back into the lineup. And one more substitute. I'm not sure who it was because Rossi left, and so did Manalo.
I was looking down writing.
And Guffey will shoot the 1-and-1, hits the front end.
That's Guffey's.
Sullivan is the other substitute.
Yeah, Guffey's first points here this second half after.
But that puts him in double digits. He's got 10 for the game. He hits the second one. And another substitution. Gorbenko comes back in with 4 fouls. I suppose you might as well let him have his 5th one at this point.
Let him see if he can stay in there now.
So there's your fourth quarter challenge.
Yeah.
For the senior. Stepping through in a whistle. That's a good call by Rob Finley.
Guffey, I think.
You could go it on call it on either man here.
Yeah.
I saw both guys stick their legs out. It is going to go on Guffey, so that's his 3rd.
Tried to drive between them and tripped over both of them.
And 5 on the Grizzlies. Inbounds pass comes up high, handled by Wilgris. Back on this side for Tierney. Tierney cuts into the lane, had a little bit of space cut off, gives it out to Gorbenko. Long 2, and he's going to get the whistle. He got run into by Guffey, I think, and that's going to be his 4th.
If that's Guffey, for sure he's going to come out.
That is on Guffey, and it is his 4th. So 6th team foul. Both teams will be in the bonus, and this is a shooting foul, so Gorbenko will go to the line, and he'll have a chance to get half as many points as he does fouls here.
And we'll see Zach Hatch probably back in here for Guffey on this shot.
And he missed the first one.
Right.
Hatch comes back in, and Guffey's going to have a seat. Zach Hatch, 13 points. Surpassed only by Middendorf with 14. And Schafferer has 12 for Jackson. We've got a whistle on the rebounding here, and now Glacier Peak's going to shoot some free throws. I think the foul's on Sullivan. That is indeed who's going to pick the personal foul. And it's the 9th on Jackson in the second half. Front end of the 1-and-1 is no good.
That's going to go.
And it's going to be Jackson ball. I thought I saw what you saw.
I thought it was going the other way too.
But the front end no good by Southard. He's missed 2 out of his 3 free throws. And the one that went in kind of rattled a little bit, but he's been very effective in other parts of the game. Pass is knocked away, but getting it back is Tierney. And Jackson just can't find it on the offensive end. Their passes aren't there. Nice. And a whistle, as flying through was Argue, and he ran into the shooter. And so that'll send Dolan Tierney to the line.
Right.
Jacob Argue's 3rd foul, 7th on Glacier Peak. You don't have to sound so surprised, Ron, that a guy who's usually on the wearing the black and white instead of sitting up here can recognize who the foul's on. You seem surprised every time.
Oh.
Tierney hits the first free throw. 55-27 the score, 5:55 left in the fourth period. Second free throw is good as well. Tierney has 7 points.
5:50 left to go in this game here.
Time quickly running out if Jackson wants to make a comeback, but if they shoot some threes the way they did in that first period, those can add up quickly. So you never want to say something's over until that final horn, but Glacier Peak certainly looks to be cruising here halfway through the fourth period.
And there's a Glacier Peak turnover, and those will be the kind of things that'll make a difference. But then, ooh, it wasn't a turnover. I thought he was going to turn it over.
That touched a number of people. It clipped off of the foot of, I think, Argue. And then Tierney tried to track it down, almost lost it out of bounds, had it saved back to him, and he hit the shot. So he is up to 9 points on the night now, and the lead's down to 25. Southard with the basketball. On the right side for Peltier. Watched there by Gorbenko, who almost picked up his 5th foul. Nice little pass. Jacob Argue wide open on the left side block. And he lays it up. He's got 6 points, and the lead is 27, 57-30. Jackson trails Glacier Peak here at home. Gorbenko is going to go back to the free throw line.
I think that's going against Brady.
And if it does, it would be...
Oh, no, it's not.
It's on Argue, and it's his 4th. 8 against Glacier Peak. So
could have gone against Brady.
There were bodies in there, that's for sure. Free throw is up and hits the front rim, hits the glass, and can't fall down. Middendorf comes back in for Glacier Peak. Argue has a seat. Brown returns for Jackson, and he'll replace Schaffrer. Sam Schaffrer with 12 points leading the scoring for Jackson in a frustrating effort. That one finally goes down for Gorbenko, so he is on the board with a point. 57-31, it's a 26-point Glacier Peak lead. As we play about 4.5 minutes left here in the fourth and final period. I shouldn't say final, you never want to presume, but Glacier Peak has been in control of the game since about 2 or 3 minutes to go in the first quarter rather. And the lead has been increasing consistently since. Foul goes against Jackson's number 14, Marcus Sullivan. That's his 2nd and 10 on Jackson.
Well, Brady's at the line here again. Let's see if he can capitalize on this one. He's at 1 for 4. Is that what we got?
1 for 3. I think he missed a front end. Faddis comes back into the game and replacing Wilgris for Jackson. And he misses.
Now he's 1 for 4.
Well, I've got 10 team fouls. They had 9 on the board, so we'll go with what they had in the official book. Missed the 1-and-1. That'll be the last 1-and-1 that they will shoot. Ball bounces around a little bit, and Dolan Tierney finds it. That puts him in double digits. He's got 11. He and Soffer are in double digits for Jackson. Hatch, Guffey, and Middendorf all have 10 or more for Glacier Peak. And a foul called.
That's the last you're going to see.
And that's going to be the 5th on Gorbenko, and he's pretty frustrated.
Number 20,
just a little bit out of control there, trying to get back to the ball.
He's got to take a deep breath if he wants to start for this team.
Yeah.
And keep himself under control, because you fly around, you're going to pick up fouls like that. So back in comes Soffer, who got a quick rest. And the JV call-up, Seed is going to shoot the free throw. Can't get the first one. Sure would love to get a point here in what I think is his varsity debut. Free throw up and no good off the back of the rim. Rebound taken down by Faddis. Into the front court comes Tierney. Nice crossover on Hatch. Hands it off for Sullivan. Back up to the top for Tierney. Now Brown on the left side. 15-foot jumper, rims out. Rebound tapped up in the air and a foul called on Faddis. He went over the top to try and get this one, and we're going to shoot free throws at the other end.
This last 3 minutes might roll its way around just about like that. Fouls and going back and forth shooting free throws here.
That's the 3rd foul on Faddis. And this one is the 10th team foul on Jackson. So double bonus for Glacier Peak the rest of the way. Middendorf gets these 2. 18 fouls on Glacier Peak. So one more of the 1-and-1. And then double bonus for them. Middendorf, other 2 free throws we saw him shoot, he intentionally used the glass. I think that's what he's doing on purpose.
Right.
That one hit the glass and rattled out.
A little bit off center there.
Second free throw's on the way. That one hits the back of the rim, doesn't make it to the glass. But the rebound's bounced around and picked up there by Southard, and he can't make the layup, but he's going to go to the free throw line. Lots of whistles here in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Foul goes against Sullivan. It's his third. And Southard will shoot a couple of free throws. He's had 4 chances thus far. He's made 1 of them. 2 of those were front ends, and he misses this one as well.
I'm going to make a prediction. He's going to make the next one.
Let's see, Ron Henthorn. You're on the hook now, buddy.
On the hook. Don't let me down, Brady.
Yeah, he lets you down. Free throw no good. Tapped around. Southern gets the rebound. I guess you get partial credit for that.
All right.
And handled there by Seed. Gives it for Hatch. 13 points for Hatch. And this man Middendorf has 14 to lead all scorers. Almost walked with it, kept his pivot foot, then almost turned it over. Picked up by Peltier and a foul called.
That's going to go. I thought he was bodying up, but he was bodying up a little too heavy on him, so Sullivan's going to get his fourth
He had
foul.
his hands on there too, so it's the 4th on Sullivan. Marcus couldn't keep his hand off. And Peltier will go to the free throw line. He's got 7 points. All but 2 of them in the first half. Free throw no good.
Wow.
Boy, you know, if I'm taking something away from this, if I'm Brian Hunter, it's got to be the free throw shooting.
Yeah, I'm going to send some guys into practice free throw shooting
Yeah.
next week.
57-33, now 58 as the second free throw is good for Peltier. 58-33, Glacier Peak leads Jackson. Nathan Murphy and Ron Henthorn with you. 3:09 left to go here in regulation. Glad you're with us on STSPN.com. Make sure and check back at STSPN.com and SoundLiveSports.com for all the live basketball broadcasts throughout this winter season. Glacier Peak back with it in the front court. It's Hatch. Under 3 minutes left to go now, and a 25-point lead for the Grizzlies. Not a whole lot of urgency, as you might expect from the Grizzlies. Faddis watching Hatch now. He's going to get a screen from Southard. He'll use it to his right. Tries to flip it back towards Southard. Southard almost dribbled out of bounds, flung it up in the air, picked up there by Sullivan, trying to run ahead, and beats everybody down and lays it in. Marcus Sullivan with his first field goal. He's got 3 points. Southard thought about the 3 at the other end. Instead, he'll hand it back for Peltier.
Needs to run more clock time off of that instead of firing away there.
That's definitely a good decision. Brian Hunter would not have liked that, and now he's going to go back to the line.
That's
as Faddis is called for the bump.
His 4th foul, I think, too, right?
You know, this is not as bad as some people were afraid it might be. There's definitely a pattern of some guys picking up a lot of fouls, but you know, the fear was, as we were coming into this, of 3, 4, 5 guys on each team fouling out.
Yeah. We're going to see a couple players from Glacier Peak off the junior varsity team coming in here at this time.
Marcus Sullivan is going to have to leave the contest. He's got some blood on his wrist. So they're going to have to go clean that up. Ian Wilgris will check into the lineup. Everybody else who's at the table gets to come in for the injury, so we'll try and get everybody here.
So we got Seaver Southard coming in for the Grizzlies, the brother of Brady who's on the line there.
So Seaver makes his debut. Rossi returns for Jackson. Manalo returns for Jackson. Wilgris returns for Jackson. And there was one more, and I think it's Hammond.
And we got Brandon
Tatro's going to make his debut.
Tatro going to make his debut. And he's
first free throw is good for Southard, so you were just off by 1.
Yep.
He's got 7 points on the night.
So we might have to start thinking about a player of the game here pretty soon, too.
Free throw on the way, and it's good.
Drops the second one. And that will put Brendan Tatro comes into the game.
And that's going to probably be the end of the night for Brady Southard. He'll leave with 8 points as Tatro comes in, and he'll take the post along with Middendorf. And if you're talking about a player of the game, Ron, that's the first name that comes to mind for me. Jacob Middendorf with the 14 points and also a real force on the glass. And in this defense, every time Jackson tried to turn the corner, either he or Southard seemed to be there.
They do.
So foul goes against Tatro, who had just entered the game, so we'll shoot a couple free throws. Folks, tomorrow night on Sound Live Sports Network, our broadcast partner for the southern half of the conference, Linwood and Mount Lake Terrace. Is that boys or girls?
That is girls.
Girls basketball. So the defending boys basketball, I apologize. Linwood and Mount Lake Terrace, boys basketball. Mount Lake Terrace with a magical year last year.
Keep your score up to speed there.
Wilgris got one of the two, right?
One of the two, right.
So a free throw for Wilgris is his first point of the game, but
trying to spit that out for you.
Linwood and Terrace tomorrow night at 7:15 on Sound Live Sports. Tune in and enjoy Western Conference basketball action on Sound Live Sports and STSPN, the Snohomish Times. Thanks everybody for joining us here tonight. Nathan Murphy, Ron Henthorn, and Todd Elvig with you from Jackson High School. Glacier Peak has been in control of this one. They led by 13 at halftime, 22 at the end of the half, and now a 5-second call as trying to dribble around the corner with it was Connor Seed. Substitution checking into the lineup is number 12, and that's Scott Wilson, another JV call-up. He'll make his first appearance of the ball game. 60-36, 24 points the lead. 26 was the high a little bit earlier. And another steal by the Grizzlies. Sent it ahead, layup. Seaver Southard can't get it. He was in the clear. Now Seed, back for Tatro. I think all of the JV call-ups in the lineup now. Nice for them to get some floor time in the varsity uniform. Tatro with the basketball. And now it's back for Seed, and he can't keep the handle on it, so it's going to be Jackson basketball as we go under a minute to go. Ron, your thoughts on the player of the game?
Well, I'd have to go with Jacob Middledorf as well. He's really been in there hard on the boards tonight.
Long three taken by Rossi, and he can't hit it. Rebound Jackson, sorry.
There's another turnover for Jackson, just like that.
Hammond couldn't keep the handle after getting the long rebound, so about a 6-second difference now between the shot clock and the game clock. 34 seconds, 33 to go here in the period. 24 on the game clock. Long three-pointer, no good. Now it's Tatro tried and lays it up. That's blocked, but it's going to come back in a three-pointer attempt by Seed. He can't get it. Rebound Jackson.
This is what you call garbage time.
Brown's layup is no good. Rebound taken up. Wilgris finally gets it to drop down. He's got 3, 10 seconds left in the contest. Connor Seed's just going to dribble this one out, so
let it go.
Glacier Peak is going to win this one. Final score of 60-38 here at Jackson High School. We'll take a quick break and be back with our player of the game. You're watching boys Western Conference basketball on STSPN.com.
Gives us a chance again. We have to thank all the great people who helped us put on this broadcast. Awesco Septic Service. Try them out. awescoseptic.com or call 888-488-5588. Tell them that you heard this ad on STSPN.com and you will get $50 off your next service. They offer 24-hour service 7 days a week with over 25 years of experience.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day, did you say?
24 hours a day. You just call them or go online and they'll help you out.
How often do you get midnight septic service?
Not very often. Drew Vader. Or often at our house. We have a septic. We're all about septic.
Welcome back to Jackson High School on STSPN.com. We go now to Ron Henthorn with our player of the game.
Middledorf, Jacob, a big win here for the Grizzlies tonight, and a lot of it was because of you.
Yeah, it's a good game. Tough battle. We just toughed it out and gave it to them.
What did you have to do to make yourself a big power strength under the boards there tonight?
Just rebounded really hard, boxed out, went right back up to the hoop with it.
And I think you got a few assists from some of your players out there as well.
Yeah, great dishes. Great game for everybody on the team.
Well, appreciate you doing a good job out there tonight. And on behalf of STSPN Sports, you're our player of the game. So put this T-shirt up here, and we'll let her get a nice picture of you. And
thank you very much.
Congratulations on that win tonight.
Thank you.
Got that? All right. Thank you much. Very good. See you next time. Yep. Back to you, Keith.
Nathan Murphy here at Jackson High School, where Glacier Peak defeats Jackson by a final score of 60-38. And after the first 5 or 6 minutes of this game, the outcome really wasn't in doubt. It was close in the early going, but Glacier Peak had opened up a 13-point lead by the half after Zach Hatch dropped a 3 at the buzzer in the second quarter. And the lead just grew from there. It was 22 at the end of the third period, and that was the final margin. Once again, Glacier Peak 60 and Jackson 38. We'll run down the scoring here quickly. The leaders for Jackson, Dolan Tierney with 11 points and Sam Sofferer with 12. And for the Glacier Peak Grizzlies, 2 players, Southard and Peltier with 8. Guffey had 10. Hatch had 13, including 3 3-point field goals. And Jacob Middendorf, our player of the game, led all scorers with 14 points. Ron Henthorn, final thoughts from tonight.
Well, final thoughts for me is that Jackson played a lot of good basketball early on in this game. Learned something about the way the referees are going to call it this season, and I think they're going to see a lot more wins out of that team. So I look for Jackson to come on really strong here as the season moves on and they adjust to the way things are being called.
It's going to be a challenge for all teams in the league and across high school basketball this year. So much is going to be determined on who adjusts well and who does not.
That's going to be a big factor in this boys basketball this year. So I think the Grizzlies have adjusted a little bit from their first game to this game, and that probably helped them a little bit. But they were really more effective in getting those outside shots and inside shots to run that score up there in the second half.
Well, we'll take a moment to thank our sponsors once again, including Shoreline Community College, Gilpin Realty, Fred's Rivertown Ale House in Snohomish, A. Wesco Plumbing, or Septic rather.
That's correct.
And who else we got for the basket? Action Jackson Plumbing. I knew there was a plumber in there. We really, really thank all of them. We could not do these broadcasts without them, and we're very grateful for the chance to bring these games to you. Make sure and join us tomorrow night. We'll have Mount Lake Terrace and Linwood boys basketball. That'll be over on Sound Live Sports Network. They're at soundlivesports. Is it sports.com or Sound Live Sports Network?
All 4 words.
SoundLiveSportsNetwork.com is the web address for that one, or you can get the YouTube username, Sound Live Sports Network. For producer and engineer Todd Elvig, for Ron Henthorn, and for the entire staff at Snohomish Times, I'm Nathan Murphy saying so long from Jackson High School, where the final score once again was Glacier Peak 60 and Jackson 38. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Nathan. It's been a pleasure.